Hey, 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 everybody. It is time for What's Next. Thank you so much for joining our live streaming show. We are so happy that you're here. Our friend Scott, he is enjoying some well-deserved time off, but we still got you covered here. So thank you so much for being here. Before we get to weather, I just want to let you know the question of the day today. Okay, what would you do if you weren't on social media? Go ahead, chime in, let us know, because we have a lot to talk about. We're also going to get to Lauren Kostick, who's always hanging out with us, and seeing all this backlash that's going on with Elon Musk and his purchase of Twitter. It has been crazy, Angela. Everyone has an opinion on this.
I wonder if he thought that it would be so dramatic.
Well, dramatic, and I'm kind of, frankly, I guess I shouldn't be, a little shocked at how politicized it's already being.
Yes.
It's something that we all use, and I guess right now conservatives are feeling like they want this free speech push, and liberals feel the need to defend it. And it's like, once again, a nation divided.
I know, and by Twitter. And I thought that there's plenty of people that say plenty of stuff on Twitter that seem pretty free to me.
Right.
But I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I guess not free enough.
We're also going to fill you in on what Elon Musk has been saying lately to kind of clarify everything. So we'll get to that in a bit. But let's kick off with weather because people love to get to that.
Well, and it's cold. And we've got a frost advisory, freeze warning. I had some plants delivered. I know it's too early. We talk about it to plant your plants, plant your flowers yet. But I had some delivered. So I have them on the back patio, and I have 2 blankets for when I get home. I'm going to cover them up. You just have to remember to remove the covers once the sun comes up, or just go ahead and bring them inside for tonight, because we have a frost advisory for most of us. Those of you Peru, Muncie, Newcastle, Northeast, that's actually a freeze warning, where temperatures tomorrow morning will be close to freezing for several hours, and that's the reason for the difference in the freeze warning. From those of us that are under the frost advisory, mid-30s for Indianapolis, South and West. Plenty cold that you'll need the coat tomorrow morning, but you'll also need the sunglasses. Lots of sunshine in the Wednesday forecast. And that'll help temperatures. 50 by lunchtime, and will be 55 to 60 for highs. Rain chances return kind of off and on during the day Thursday. Not going to be a washout start to finish, but definitely one of those days where you have to plan around a rain chance. So take advantage of the sunshine tomorrow.
Oh, well, I will certainly do that. We'll try to get in an outdoor workout or just
a walk
some fresh
or something.
air.
Fresh air, always good.
Fresh air, that's the least you could do, is just go out for a breather. A reminder, our question of the day is, what would you be doing if you weren't spending as much time on social media? Or remember those days when social media didn't exist?
I do remember.
Back in my day.
Back in the day. I do remember.
What would you be doing? That's our question of the day. Make sure you chime in. We'll get a chance to shout you guys out. Tell us where you're watching from as well. But let's turn to Lauren Kostick, because everyone is talking about Elon Musk and his purchase of Twitter. And again, this is a very divided issue.
It's funny, you looked yesterday and Twitter was trending on Twitter. And I bet it was even trending on Facebook. It was just funny. You look, you're like, oh, okay. And of course, everyone had a lot to say. So we're kind of seeing the after effects of that today, if you're scrolling through. Basically, I spoke with an Indiana University professor who kind of broke down what this could mean. You know, we're talking about misinformation, we're talking about freedom of speech. There's a lot of different factors that could play out. And of course, this deal is not finalized. They still have to jump through some hurdles and get everything, which they're hoping by the end of the year to have everything finalized. So we're not going to see these changes, you know, when you hop on Twitter tomorrow. But basically, you know, he was saying, if Elon Musk takes this approach where he's like, okay, everything's on the table, you could tweet what you want, no one's going to get banned, then we could see that increase of misinformation, increase of hate speech. And that's something a lot of people are worried about. So he kind of fought back against the you know, tweets today saying, you know, hey, I am not trying to, you know, do misinformation or do, what am I trying to say?
No, it's all
It was like, how do you regulate that,
right,
though?
exactly.
How do you, and I think they've tried.
Yes.
Facebook and Twitter have tried to say, okay, I'm going to take this off because it is hateful and it is not true. You know, and I think that's where some of this has stemmed from. But it's like, how do you regulate all of us You know, not that all of us are saying bad things, but
Well,
you know, there are
there's too many people.
too many people,
Yeah.
too many tweets.
Yeah, it was already kind of a free speech regulated space, you know, and so I guess now he's saying it is going to be within the laws still,
yeah.
but
Okay.
And that's
I mean, my whole thing is it's already open, so how much open are we about to make it?
And he's talked about this for so long. You know, he was just on a TED Talk this year where he talked about, hey, I want to make sure this is an open platform. So this has kind of been in the works for a while, and I think something that's been, it's not just a spur of the moment decision he made. And Felicia just brought up the tweets here. One of the tweets he sent 7 hours ago said, the extreme antibody reaction from those who fear free speech says it all. So that's kind of where he's kind of fighting back.
Yeah, classic Elon Musk tweet, you know.
Using Twitter to do so.
Sure.
Which is kind of ironic.
I would just be curious how many people are actually banned from Twitter. I mean, we know President Trump is.
Yeah, well, that's a good question. They are saying only 22% of adults use Twitter. So,
Okay, so there aren't
that's
that many
not
of
a
us.
large population
All
of the
right.
United States.
Sure. That is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my biggest concern, though, is I just don't want the hate speech, harassment, violence. I don't want to see any of that.
And it could
Other than
be-
that, say what you want, but don't go too far.
And I also spoke with that professor and I said, could we see a ripple effect? You know, for, you know, Elon Musk is buying Twitter. Could someone go buy Facebook and make that an open platform as well? You know, and he said it's a possibility, but people are going to watch first to see what happens on Twitter before anyone does anything. You know, we're going to see
Right.
how this all plays out.
Well, and he did mention in some of his, you know, previous comments about changing the algorithms and things like that. So I don't know if that would make it easier for him to not control, but, you know, keep hate speech and other things that aren't appropriate off that platform without necessarily what he thinks as far as, you know, holding in free speech.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's above my head.
He's got a lot on his plate.
He does have a
though, so I was
Tesla,
like,
SpaceX,
let's add
and now Twitter.
Right, right.
Man.
The last thing I want to say is I do think if we are going to make it more like the Wild Wild West, we should make sure that people have to be their profile, so that when you say something,
well,
you have to stand behind what you say.
Well, and he did say that
Yeah,
about getting
right.
rid
That's
of the
what I'm-
Twitter bots. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I
So,
want to see.
I am
Okay,
with you.
let's check in with the people. Again, our question of the day, you can
yeah.
weigh in on Elon Musk and his purchase of Twitter if you'd like, but also the question of the day is, what would you be doing if you weren't spending as much time on social media, or if you can remember back in the olden days before there was a social media, what would you be doing with all this time? So let's check in with a few people here. Let's
We had
see.
Kim say watch more TV. I told her that was I think it was Kim. That was my answer too. You know, if I didn't have my phone, I probably would just turn my TV on, which
Right.
I don't turn my TV on a lot in the morning before I come to work. I usually watch some when I get
That's good.
home.
Yeah.
But
You got to ease into your day.
I have to admit, I do get some of my news from Twitter.
Yeah, that's
Or I get the happenings of the day.
To your point, there are some good things about social media. It's not just the bad, right?
You get sucked in really quick.
Yeah, you do.
so that's my problem.
Wilbur saying good evening, everyone. Arizona Jim here. Arizona Jim, we love you. Always shoving that Arizona weather in our face. I'll see you in June.
Tanya said she Googled it. 235,000 as of August 2016 were banned from Twitter.
Okay.
So I'm
It's a lot
sure
more than
that's
I thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm sure that's more now. After
Yeah.
2020.
Well, the question too is, will they bring them back? You know, will Elon,
Oh, that's a good
Elon let
question.
them back in?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anywho, keep weighing in. Keep giving us what you think. This is our time to get your opinions out there.
Ooh, Barb said reading. Reading,
I was
reading
gonna say
is
reading,
good.
'cause
Reading
every
is
time
good.
I grab my book before I go to bed, I'm like, oh, I'll read my book, and I never do because I get on my phone and then I'm like, oh, I want to go to bed. You know?
I thought you were going to say like me, 10 seconds in and you're
Oh, then
asleep.
fall asleep.
You're nodding in your book.
Right.
Before we go, let's get one more check of the weather.
It's going to be chilly tomorrow morning. Low 30s to start. Will be close to 50 lunchtime. Lots of sunshine, 55 to 60. And then remember that rain chance does return on Thursday. So tomorrow night we'll kind of have an hour by hour timeline to help you make some Thursday outdoor plans just in case you've got something to do on Thursday.
Yes. So you can keep the conversation going on Facebook. Of course, at 11, we're going to dive deeper into that topic as well as so many other stories and news of the day that you need to hear. And of course, we're going to hear from experts specifically with you.
Yes.
So
Who has better things to say than myself.
No, you
Oh,
were
no.
great. You were great.
you have great things to say.
He was great too.
Yeah.
He really got all into it. So make sure you tune in at 11.
Yeah, and our good friend Scott, hopefully we'll be seeing him soon. He's getting some well-deserved time off. I know there's some folks that were asking. So thanks you guys so much for joining. We'll see you at 13 News at 11.